Each of my design projects begins with a reference, an example project, materials, textures, and this is where the ideas start to take shape. A mood board is really great for that, to compile inspiration, references, and a starting point for visualizing your projects. In this video, I want to show you how I use mood boards to inform my drawings, without the inspiration getting diluted or lost along the way. Using Rayon, I'll walk through a simple workflow that keeps inspiration and documentation connected. We'll start by building a material and color mood board for a mock project and then translate that directly into a floor plan, using the same space throughout. The goal is simple: to move seamlessly from visual ideas to clear, expressive drawings that communicate materiality, atmosphere, and design intent to our client and stakeholders from the very beginning. Before we get into it, if you'd like to follow along or try this workflow for yourself, there's a link in the description where you can create your free Rayon account. And the way Rayon works is that they have model and paper canvases. In this case, we're going to create a paper canvas for the mood board. Click the plus button, create our paper canvas, and we're going to rename it to material and mood board. This is where I collect references, materials, colors, textures, and precedents. In my model canvas, I have a floor plan that I will apply my mood board inspiration to. So make sure you stay to the end of the video to see the finished floor plan. This mood board will aim to set the direction for a warm, expressive kitchen defined by natural materials and tactile detail. I'd like to explore rich timber tones, light stone surfaces, and a balance between refined craftsmanship and relaxed, lived-in character, establishing the visual and material language that will guide the design document. Images can come from anywhere. You can copy and paste them directly from a browser. So when I'm looking for references, I'm looking for certain types of material combinations. In this case, I'm looking for kind of a dark wood, but with a marble stone finish. So you have that kind of contrast between the wood and maybe a white marble. In this case here, this is a strong image where you have that strong contrast between the two. So we can copy that into our mood board, which you can see here. I've already dropped a bit of a color palette on to indicate those warm tones. And also this image that I already have here that shows these kind of wooden and rustic. And then you can start playing with the mood board. You can start scaling them, scaling these images, position them correctly to how you want to construct your thinking and your design inspiration. You can rotate, shift, you can start editing those images, flipping them, etc., to customize your presentation. Additionally, you can double click into the image, you can crop the image if there are certain elements that you want to crop out. Now I want to start looking for some furniture that I want to add to this mood board, and I'll show you a really clever tool that Rayon has. So if we go in here, we want to find a walnut wooden chair. We want to copy that image, paste it into our mood board and position it like so. Now from this point, we can then start adjusting and editing this image using the tools on the right hand side. So we've got various options here. We've got upscale, we can generate products, we can remove background. We're going to click remove background, which will cut out the background of this image and leave the furniture by itself. And on the right hand side here, you can make some small and minor changes to exposure, contrast, saturation to customize the image for your mood board. Then the final piece to this image is to make sure that it's on the correct layer and also make sure that it's brought to the front of that layer so that we can then place it into our mood board. So we head to the top right corner, change it to our photos layer, which means that it sits in front of the images. Once the board starts to feel cohesive, I will start to pull out materials and colors. And I'm now going to start doing this by building textures and material finishes that we'd like to use as part of the mood board and to implement into the drawings. So to start adding colors and material finishes to our mood board, I'm just going to find a particular finish that I'd like to add. I'm going to draw a rectangle and I'm going to create it as a style. So you can then pick a style, it will then essentially apply that image to that style. You can then add a stroke to that particular rectangle. And this is essentially making a material swatch, a material palette that will then be able to apply to your drawings. Alternatively, if you can't find the materials you're looking for, you can also look through the Rayon material and texture library, where you'll see on the left hand side here, they've got many textures and hatches that you can also apply to your drawings. And then you can compose them as you wish. In this case, I've composed them now into a one page where I've added some kind of text and some annotations to my color palette. I've customized them slightly by dropping the opacity down and adding something in the back layer to make it look and feel a little bit more dynamic. And then if I want to actually start exploring some alternative images of some of the references that I found, For example, this center image here where I have a darker piece of wood, maybe I want to explore a lighter piece of wood or a different finish tap, for example. You can use Rayon's built-in AI features. So head to the left-hand side here and head to the AI chat. You can select your selected image, and then you can apply certain tools, AI tools to that image. In this case, we're going to do generate image, and then you can prompt it. So we're going to do make the wood lighter. And you'll see here that it will generate an image or a version of that image that we've imported with a lighter wood, which is really quick and powerful if you want to start visualizing alternative colors or alternative finishes to your images. You can also then reuse that image and maybe prompt it to add a gold tap, for example. And so we'll make the tap gold, and you'll see here that it will generate an image of that tap in gold. So this is really powerful if you are trying to build a mood board and you're trying to test ideas using that mood board as well. So using your references to start visualize your project and test different ideas to show to your clients. This is extremely powerful. This becomes the visual reference for the drawings, a shared language for the project. At this stage, AI is great for exploration and ideation. It's about testing ideas quickly, not locking anything in. The important thing is this: the mood board doesn't sit off the side, it actively informs how the drawings are styled. Now I'll switch to the model canvas and I'll show how this transition happens. Here's a simple floor plan for the same project I drew in the software. This is to scale and can be edited and adjusted as you please, as you change your design along the way. The beauty of Rayon is that everything lives in one place. I can reference the mood board while working, no second screen required. And this is where the style panel becomes really powerful. Now the way that the style panel works, and that works really well in this instance alongside this mood board, is that you can start picking up on some of the elements and some of the materials that you want to apply to the drawing and simply start picking those elements and copying them across. So we have a drawing set up here. We've got the floor plan with some kind of zoom in call out elements for the kitchens. And you can select certain elements, head over to the right hand side here to the style panel and start picking and choosing some of the finishes you want to apply. So in this case, we're going to add a timber finish. For this worktop here, we can then pick a style and we can choose the style that we've created from our mood board, so that marble finish. Once again, you can basically go across all of your elements and start picking and choosing the styles that you want to apply. The block elements, you can double click into them, pick your style, and it will apply it across all of the blocks, all of the same block associated in the model. In this case, we're going to apply this kind of wood, this dark wood finish to these bar stools. So we've got this kind of contrast that we've created from the mood board. We're going to apply some kind of metal finishes to the sink, for example, and to the cooker. And as you can see here, when you work into the floor plan, you can see that the mood board is directly informing the materials applied to the floor plan. This helps clients and viewers immediately understand material intent, even in a technical drawing. And you can pull a material swatch from your mood board. In this case, you can select those elements. You can then save that style, which you can then apply to materials across your floor plan. So I'm going to save this as a timber finish, and these various other elements as metal finish, marble finish. Then when you select a particular component, you can then do replace all and select that saved style. And this will help you build your style library that you can implement across your drawing. This keeps plans, sections, and elevations visually aligned without the extra effort. Once drawings and mood boards speak the same language, the presentation becomes much easier. You can place drawings and mood boards together, showing intent and resolution side by side. To build the presentation, have those drawings and mood boards side by side. We're going to create a page in our paper canvas. I'm going to create that as an A3 page. And you can see here that you can then add your title blocks and annotations to that page. So we're going to scroll down to title blocks and annotations, and we're going to drag in one of these options, and you'll see that there are various options for title blocks that you can import. And of course you can create your own. So in this case here, I'm going to drop in a kind of black and white one, which you can then double click into and start making changes to that particular block. So for example, we can change the date. But alternatively, there are other blocks that have various color assignments and various other designs and graphic communications. And this particular one I quite like because it has quite a subtle kind of pastel-y color that suits the presentation that we want to build. And so you can also edit that style. You can change the color of that palette if you wish. And in order to create viewports into that mood board and drawing that we've created, we're going to create a view into that model canvas where we have our floor plan. And you can see here it will drop onto our page, and you can then scale and crop it as you wish. We're going to crop this down to focus on the kitchen area. And you can adjust the scale to 1:50 or zoom in further if you wish. Then we're going to create another view into the material and mood board that we've created. I'm going to drag and drop this into place and start cropping and placing it alongside the color palette, alongside the mood board, to then start getting a feel for the character of that space and its association with the floor plan. We can then add titles and text to then start building a presentation that looks something like this, where you have your material palettes, you have your mood boards, you have your color palettes all side by side as part of a presentation in order to communicate that design intent, that design language of your floor plans and how you envision those spaces to work. And from here, you can export a PDF or share a presentation that always stays up to date. Material intent shouldn't disappear when drawings begin. When inspiration and documents live together, drawings become much clearer, more expressive, and easier to understand for clients and for teams. This is how I moved from mood boards to drawings without losing the original idea. Try this workflow for your next project, even a small one, and see how much clearer your drawings become. You can explore Rayon for free, along with access to the drawings used in this tutorial, and I'll see you in the next video.